Be happy. We all want to be happy, but let's be happy when we give the kid what he needs.
There's another question.
Go ahead.
Es demasiado tarde a raíz de estos talleres que he ido en menos de 2 semanas. He evaluado en mi profesora de que mi niño entonces no es que no aprenda, el que tiene 12 años, que está en 7 grado. Estoy viendo que entonces tiene un problema para aprender, porque él se esfuerza y de 2 y 3 no pasa. Entonces quiere decir que hay una deshabilidad. ¿Es demasiado tarde para pedir un IEP en la escuela?
Is it too late to
Is it too late to ask for an IEP if I have some concerns about I believe that the last 2 weeks I've been taking different workshops and I come to the I guess that my child has a learning disability. Is it too late for me to ask for another IEP or
Under idea, the kid is qualified for idea services and placement if he's less than 22 years old and if he didn't get a regular high school diploma yet. So you got 10 years to go. So what you do is you refer him for special education, for assessment.
So you tell them to write out a letter?
They got you write a letter saying, I am referring my kid for special education. I want an assessment plan. They got to give you an assessment plan within 50 days.
15.
They got to assess in all areas of suspected disability, not just the ones that they're interested in. All areas of suspected disability is what the law says. If they don't, then they will have more difficulties. They have to do that. From the time that you have signed the assessment plan to the creation of the IEP, they have 60 days. Of course, if you're nice and they got a good reason to be late, then of course you give them you give them time. You be nice and everything like that, but you don't be too nice. It's true that the clock stops over the summer, the clock stops over summer vacations, but basically they got to get us on the stick. In that 60 days, they have to do all the assessments. So when you sign the assessment plan, they ought to get going pretty quick on the assessments because they got to get them all done, and then they got to get them all to you, and then you have to have the meeting. Now here's another thing while you're in there. When you walk in the IEP meeting, they have all of the assessments, and they've been looking at them, and they'd like to give them to you when you first walk in the meeting, and you're supposed to look at a psychoeducational assessment that's 20 pages, and you're just supposed to take it in and understand it all the time, and they've been looking at it for a while. Well, what you do is you make sure to tell them, I need the assessments, say 5 days before the meeting, because I need time to look at them too, just like you guys.
And translate it too in Spanish if that's your native language.
That's exactly right. It needs the assessment needs to be in Spanish if it's your native language. In general, with IDEA, they get in trouble if they deny parent participation. There are a variety of ways to deny parent participation. One of them is you're entitled to your records. You need to ask for the school records, and not just what's in the cumulative file, because the cumulative file has no standing in the law. What the cumulative file means, that's the stuff that the district would like to let you see. You're entitled to all records that are related to your kid. Reports, discipline referrals, whatever it is, you're entitled to all of that. So you ask for that. Nicely, but you ask for that. And they're supposed to give them to you within 5 days. 5 business days, which generally works out to be a week because you got 2 days for the weekend. So you want that stuff. And you definitely want, when you go into the IP meeting, you definitely want the assessment reports several days before you go in there so you get a chance to look at it. Now when you go in there, if you don't understand something, you ask what it means. I've seen in life that you can choose between looking stupid and being stupid. I'm learning that it's better to look stupid. Be Lieutenant Columbo. Don't understand. Just ask. You see something that's in it, and this is very important. Go in there, make up your mind to look stupid. It's just fine to look stupid. They'll even get careless that way and give you things that you need sometimes. You don't want to go in there looking smart. You don't know what something means, you ask what it means. So there, you go through the report and you stop them along the way. The rule that I go with them is I say, look, let's go through the report and everything. Let's not anybody argue about the report. Let them present the report, except that if somebody doesn't understand something, we stop and ask about it so that it's clear. And so we can go through the report, and at the end of the report, you understand everything. And if you don't understand, then you ask some more. And if they want to make you feel stupid, go along. Okay, I'm stupid. I need to know this. Any more?
Can you ask for another?
What they're asking is what is the time in between IEPs that they are allowed, like if they want to ask for another IEP. I think you touched that was the
Well, let me answer it generally first, and then I'll be more specific. In general, you should never be afraid to ask for something, because all they can do is say no. If you don't ask, the answer is definitely no. If you do ask, maybe it's no, but maybe it's yes. So, you ask for an IP meeting when you want one. Basically, they need to give you one after, if you need one after 30 days or so, then you need one. Certainly if some kind of development is, well, all of a sudden the kid doesn't want to go to school, he starts cutting himself, something like that, you need to ask for an IP meeting right away. Doesn't matter if you had one last week, something new just turned up.
My concern is that if I just had a meeting and I disagree the way that they're conducting it. I don't know if I can make suggestions to handle it in a different way.
Well, you absolutely can. When I finish with an IP meeting, I basically write a response letter saying, these are the things we agree with, these are the things that we don't agree with. And then you work it out. You never be nice at the expense of your kid. You always be nice in order to give them what they want. You never insult people. You don't be difficult with people without a reason. You don't be just generally the kind of people that, if they act like this, you don't want to do anything for them. You never do any of that. You be as nice as possible. But what you don't do is you be nice at the expense of your kid.
Estos son sus hijos. Si ustedes no actúan como sus hijos, this was great information.
So are we all done? Because if there's more questions or more comments or people want to argue with me or anything like that, that's great.
Nobody wants to argue with you.
Okay, well, that's okay. well, I'm dumber than you. My kid had all kinds of problems, and it kept getting worse and worse. And he finally got into 8th grade, and things just sort of came unraveled. And I didn't know anything about special education law in those days. That was at the end of 2006, and here he was in 8th grade. And he finally said, I am not going to school anymore. I would rather die. At that point, the school said, okay, we'll put him on home and hospital. I still didn't know anything about special education, and I didn't really want to know. But anyway, they put him on home and hospital, and that didn't work out too well. So they had to find a way to blame the kid. So they made a complaint. First off, they started talking about how they needed him on drugs, because he was depressed. So he needs to be on drugs. So the physicians that were, at the school district, they weren't physicians, but they thought that they were. This is what he needs. So we said no. So then they made a complaint to DCS in order of negligence and so forth in order to retaliate against us because we weren't doing the drugs. So DCS came by and laughed at them and got mad, so nothing came of that. So finally, they came up with a phony excuse to supposedly evaluate him, and they sent a school nurse and a school psychologist who then called the cops and had him dragged away on a phony 5150 saying he was suicidal, which he wasn't. So he spent 3 days in the mental hospital, and they had to vomit him forth. He wouldn't even let him have his blood or anything like that, and they sure didn't get to give him any drugs. But in the end, the kid never got to go to high school because he couldn't handle that. He finally ended up getting a GED, and the wheels are now turning for him. So I ended up learning some special education law. I am a proud graduate of the Chino Valley Unified School District K-12 Law School. So we're all dumb until we got to wise up. Now, if I'd only been just a little smarter, a lot of that wouldn't have happened.
Not smarter. We're naive. We think that
Yep.
the school is there for our kids, and it's not. That's not true.
Yeah, that's right. We find out they're there for them. I remember the guy, I'm forgetting what his name, Ben Austin. And he made a little speech when they put him on the California Board of Education. Schools are run for the convenience of the grown-ups. Schools are run for the convenience of the grown-ups. Don't ever forget
Están tan a gusto que quieren continuar.
Gracias, creo que fue muy interesante escuchar sus pláticas.
Well, we have our contact information, Educate Advocate, and you also have my personal phone number and my personal email, so here I am.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Gracias.
They're going to be writing to you in Spanish, but you can have them.
Well, I should be able to work that out. That'll be fine.
No estoy de acuerdo que eso no nos 30 minutos de escucha años. Mi niño necesita más. Mi niño tiene X problemas. Y cuando no tienen que firmar el IP hasta que sea traducido en su idioma de ustedes.
Hasta que ustedes se sientan confortables y hayan entendido ya.
Y sobre todo si ustedes no se sienten con la información suficiente para tomar una decisión, busquen a alguien que sepa más que ustedes y pidan una opinión. Porque muchas veces ellos abusan de nosotros porque saben que en ese momento la atención que tenemos es mucha y nosotros decimos sí a lo que sea.